Hello everyone, this is Cinema.
And this is Johannes.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are doing our top 10 low complexity, high depth games.
Yes, so a top 10. This has been a long time since we've done last.
It has, we really enjoy doing these top 10s, but it's hard to find a good list and make a good list of that. And it's really hard, and this one was actually quite hard to make.
Yes, and we asked for your help to decide on this top 10 to make, and we've thought about making this for a long time as well. But I didn't see that it's gonna be this hard. I had a top 20 at one point when I had already tried to cut out games, and I was
That's how you usually are.
Can we please do a top 20? Because I can't decide.
I was like, no, because 20 is a higher number than 10, so we cannot do that. That's called cheating.
Yes.
And you cannot have 10 honorable mentions. You can't do that.
Oh, wait, I have to make adjustments.
This is a hard list because we're talking about complexity and depth, which are two really abstract concepts.
Yeah.
What is complex to me is not, what is not complex to me is probably going to be extremely complex to somebody who has never played a board game.
Yeah.
So just before we go into this, the way I have seen this is not a gateway games list.
Yes.
This is a list of games that I want to play which have light rules overhead. The game can be super hard to understand how to play well, but it's not because there's many rules. For example, a game that is super good, super high depth, but super fiddly and loads of rules is Feudum.
Yeah.
It has so many intricate, complex rules, and the complexity comes from that. So actually, because and this is interesting because in I remember Heavy Cardboard talking about complexity.
Yeah.
And they're talking about rule complexity, and they're talking about gameplay complexity. And I think for me, when I made this, it's more about the rule complexity.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I've thought about that as well. Some games is hard to play good,
yes,
and thereby the depth of it.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to get what you're trying to achieve in the game. Therefore, the complexity. But actually achieving it, that's another story.
Yeah. So basically, I think the game complexity is what makes the game deep. What makes the game have depth. So of course, probably some of these games you're gonna argue that they are too complex or that they are too shallow. Like me, when it comes to backing Kickstarter games, and just so this is a really subjective list. All lists are that, but it's easier to know what is a tile placement game than what is a complex or a high depth game.
I can't really go on BGG and be sort out high depth, low complexity, and have a set list. I have to go through what do I think, what is too complex for this list, what is not deep enough. And that might be very different from your brains.
And I think we might have some crossovers. Do you want to do a guess? We did that once, and then we were horrible at actually calculating. So people oh, you actually had that many crossovers.
Yeah. I think maybe we have 5 crossovers.
Yes, I'm going to go with 5.
Yes.
So I'm going to go 6 then to make it more interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's really boring. We're going to do a bet. We're going to bet the same thing. It's not a bet.
Go.
It's just I'm betting all my money. Yeah, it's going to be really, really good. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
You want to begin?
Yes,
Yes, it's going to be cool. Do you want to begin? Okay, we can do rock, paper, scissors, or you just begin. It's the best.
I'll just begin.
Simply the best. Okay, let's go.
My number 10 is a game called Carpe Diem. It's by Stefan Feld. And the hardest thing about this list was not having only abstract games because
almost all abstract games
naturally
are that.
Abstract games have a low set of rules and a lot of depth in it.
Yes.
So Carpe Diem, I feel is one of the lighter Stefan Feld games, and also it was surprisingly deep.
Yeah.
I think moving around and taking tiles and building them into your tableau is one thing, and that might be very cozy.
Yeah.
But it's also this tension of I want these two. I'm trying to go here first, but no, you took that other piece that I wanted. Now I'm kind of screwed. But also the final scoring is what really makes this interesting for me.
The round end scoring, you mean? Every round?
Yes, yeah. Where you have to place your marker between 2 scorings and try to not get negative points. That is always fun. So that is one of my Euro games for this list.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of the games that when it looked really, really simple, and then that scoring mechanism just makes the game so meaty and so interesting.
Yes, absolutely.
Great game. So yeah, that is your number 10. My number 10 then is one of the absolutely lighter games on my list.
Yes.
It is called Hanami Koji.
Oh, yeah.
This is a 2-player game. I remember hearing so much about it all the time, like all the hype, and usually when I hear all the hype, and not when we're doing reviews, of course, but when I'm hearing like, oh, this game is so good, this game is so good, I'm trying to not play it and then wait a bit and then play it. Like I do that with TV series and movies and stuff. They would say, you have to watch this. I'm trying to not watch it because my expectations are probably going to be like high. We should do maybe we should do like an episode on hype. That would be interesting. Even though we never have hype, so I should do it alone.
Yeah.
You'd be like, are you hyped for anything? You'd be like,
No,
nope. I'm just playing what you put in front of me. With a couple of exceptions, of course. But
absolutely.
yeah.
Frosthaven. Yes.
Hanami Koji is one of those, like it might also not be the deepest game on the list. But it is one of those games where it's just like super simple. You have four actions that you're gonna do, 4 or 5 actions that you're gonna do throughout the round, and just choose one of them, and they're really simple. They're like, choose a card, or you choose 2 cards, I take 2, you choose. Very simple actions, but the order you do them in, there is some randomness here, there is all of that, but the order you do them in, and it makes it into a very interesting experience.
Yeah.
It is a really good game.
This is a game that the first time you play it, you feel like this is gonna be quite simple because it's only so much you can do, and then like when you're nearing the end of the game, you're just like, oh, and now I have to do this action because I've saved this for last, and this is not what I want to do at all. And you there's so many things that can go wrong, and that is kind of my alternative title for this video is games that make me feel stupid. This is that kind of game.
But this game, like you almost said it now. One thing we have said many times, that those games that makes you go, oh, this is simple, and then halfway in the game you're gonna be like, oh, that is clever.
Those are so good.
Yeah, so that is Hanami Koji, my number 10.
Yes. Then we have my number 9, and that is The Bloody Inn. That is no surprise being on a list of mine. There is one game that I
like? Is that the word you're looking for?
Enjoy. Yes, I'm very
It's one
fond
game
of.
I know exists.
And I thought like, okay, maybe it's too complex to be on this list, but I looked at the rating, or like the on Board Game Geek, and that it's 2.38. I don't think that is too bad.
But that doesn't really have anything to do with this list.
But I think like I thought when I played this in Kongsberg, I played with 2 friends that hadn't played like a lot of board games, and they got it quite instantly. Didn't play amazingly the first time I played it, but that is like it's step to the game. But I feel like in a game where you basically like take cards on your hand or play cards from your hand, and that is what you do, there is so many possibilities on how you can play it, and it makes me sit there and be like, oh, I really need to take this guy on my hand, because you can like, there are different people with different abilities, and you can use them to like build annexes to bury dead people under. You can kill people with them.
It's a
you
great
can
thing.
bribe people, and
I don't think you can buy people. I don't think you can do that.
I said bribe.
Oh,
and
okay.
you can do that.
That sounds better.
Yes.
Like you can buy people. I don't know.
It feels like that.
It's really strange. Like in a game where you actually kill people, they're like, no, you're not buying them. You're just killing people. Well, that's okay.
I really think the theme is really awesome in this game. But I think like I'm sitting on my turn and being like, there's so many things I have to do. I have to launder this money for once, because otherwise I can't get more points. I have to bury this guy because there's police in town. And that's a big problem. And there's just so many things on my turn that I'm sitting just like, this needs to be done all at once, and you have to like wreck your brain to find the best possible way to do it.
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't say this is a very deep game, but
I think so.
That's okay. We can disagree from time to time.
Yes.
But we're hard doing that because people want to see like the top 10 games we disagree on, and we still haven't been able to make that list.
Yes.
So let's continue on to my next game. My number 9 is a game that could have been like many other games.
Yeah.
Like it is a genre of games, but I've chosen the one I like the best.
Yes.
And it's one that's obviously not going to be on your list. It is Chicago Express.
not on my list.
Which could have been like all the other like 1 hour win some train games, basically.
Yeah.
Because those are super duper simple. Like the two first from Capstone Games, there's basically one page of rules. Like there's 2 pages, but half of it is set up, and then there's like half a page of a 1 paragraph column thing with rules, and then you just play the game. So it's just like the rules are super simple, and these kind of games, like every time I play a new one of those, the first time I play, I have no idea what's going on, no idea how to even play any good, and some of them are better than others. I think still Chicago Express is the best. Ride the Rails, which is one that they did from Capstone Games lately, is also very good because it's kind of different. It's not, many of them feel kind of the same train games, and they're like nuances of them. So if you really like them, you can have like 10 of them, and like today I'm feeling like doing this little thing. But for me, I think it's okay to have like a couple of them. But Ride the Rails is also one that is kind of different. So basically, the rules are you have like 4 different actions or 3 different actions in Chicago Express, 3 or 4, I do not remember, and they are very simple. You lay a train, you start an auction, or you do one other thing. I don't remember that last thing. Maybe there are 3 actions.
Like it's put out a building on us, like these buildings, kind of. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm very sure.
You're
about
very
that.
sure. I do not remember basically because my brain is mushy right now. But yeah, those games are super duper simple, but there's a lot of depth to them, a lot of interaction, a lot of ways to play these games.
Yes, and I think also Chicago Express is one of like simpler ones to get into. It's very straightforward, but when I play it, it's many moments when I'm just like, oh, this is might be the best for me, but I want to stop the round, for example. Then I have to do this other thing. So yeah, great game. My number 8 is a game that we have had the pleasure of playing recently, actually.
Okay,
it's The Crew.
Oh.
And it's a trick-taking game, co-op, where like the concept of the game is fairly simple. It's making like the one player, for example, take a stick with a certain card in it. There's a lot of variability in this game as well, where you have different other missions to do, but like sitting and playing and trying to make that actually happen is very interesting, and always like makes me think in new ways in the trick-taking game that I thought was actually possible.
It's a really good game, absolutely.
Really good. Yeah.
It's another one I don't think of depth when I play it, but it is a fun game.
It's not very complex. You can agree about that.
I can agree with that,
Yes.
but I don't think it has a lot of depth.
Yeah, I don't think Chicago Express is very depthy either, but I didn't comment on.
Okay, so now you're just making things
Yeah.
up. Like I don't think any game
you're
you
right
have. No,
about
it's,
anything.
It's fine. People are probably gonna agree with you because they like you more. But that's just how it is. I know. But it is a very good game. But it's not one I think about when I think about like, oh, this is gonna be a deep gameplay experience.
No, is Chicago Express that?
Okay, so now you're like trying to pit my games
just
again.
like
Yes, it's a deep experience compared to the rules, absolutely.
okay, yeah.
But I don't think I think The Crew is a very good game, but it's not like
Okay, just let me have a second. I'll just pick a different game from my list. I'm just kidding. So it's you.
oh yeah, so you're just gonna delete that game.
Yeah.
My next game is another small game. It's a filler. It's like the one I think about when I think a filler.
Yeah.
Do you want to guess?
But is it deep though? That is my question. No, I don't know.
It's Arboretum.
Oh yeah.
It's the game about planting trees and trying to destroy everything that the other players are trying to do.
Yes, it's a mean game.
It is a very mean game, but it's so simple. Basically, on your turn, you're going to draw a card, you're going to play a card, and you're going to discard a card. And that is basically 80% of the rules. Like, that's all the rules except for how you score.
Yeah.
And you want to plant trees adjacent to each other that have the same, the ascending orders, and then you want to try to also have the same one to you get bonus points, but you only get to score points for one of the tree types if you have the highest value of those cards in your hand. So you cannot play the highest number because you want to have the highest numbers in your hand, but also if you have a 1 and I have the 9, then my 9 doesn't mean anything and you get to take away my scoring. So basically you want to put up some good scoring combos, but you don't want to be too good because then other people are going to try to destroy for you, so you don't get to get those. And it is just so much going on in this game, which is so simple. The rules are, as I said, you draw a card, you play a card, and you discard a card. And you can draw a card from the deck, or you can draw a card from all the different players' discard piles. It's such a mean game. It's so mean and it's so much fun, and I love it.
It's so good. It's so good. It's very good, and absolutely. It's you sit there and you're trying to build smart, but you're also trying to take the other cards that the other players want. So you're trying to block them, and you want to have space in your hand from cards that you actually want to play, but you also want to have space for the cards that you're gonna keep till the end. So it's just like so many things that has to go right,
Yes.
and so many things that does go wrong.
That can go left.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a great game.
It is. And then we have my number 7. It's a game that I also have talked about before. It's Tiny Towns.
Oh, yeah.
And this is also kind of a mean game. You're building a tiny town.
It can be, yes.
Yeah, it can be mean. And you're placing cubes in your grid. And when you have like a certain pattern of different colored cubes, you can exchange them for the one building. And all buildings have different abilities through the end game scoring. So you want to place them so they're comboing with each other,
Yes.
but you also want to leave enough space to build onwards. So you can really easily get stuck in this game by
So easily.
placing the wrong colored cube on the wrong grid space. What do you call it? I don't know.
I was at space.
Yes, space.
Square space thingy.
And so you can't build it anymore, and then you're out. I'm very good at this. So I really like it a lot. But when we play it with new people, they struggle. The struggle is real in this game.
The struggle is really. Yeah,
Yeah.
This is also a very good game. I don't think it's really deep.
Yeah.
And
Will you?
I'm just gonna say that for all your picks, no matter if I even have it on my list myself.
Yeah, of
no,
course.
Tiny Towns was almost on my list. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of like it was. I did the PubMeeple ranking engine, which you should use if you don't, because it's fun. You don't like it, but I like ranking games against each other. And if it was in the top 10, and I removed it.
Oh yeah.
Because I do like it, but there's other games here I feel like is a lot more deep. So yeah, it's not deep enough for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so next up then is another game that's basically like chosen a game from a pile of games.
Yeah.
Because this number could be 90% of Ronny Knitz's games.
Oh yeah.
And I've chosen Blue Lagoon because it's
Yeah.
one of the ones I enjoy the most, or the ones we have played, where the rules are just so super duper simple, and there's so much stuff going on, so much. Blue Lagoon isn't like the deepest game he has made, obviously. It was released by Blue Orange for being like more of a family game, but it's just like, you play it super duper quick, and I get so much in return for playing it. Like the placement, the blocking, especially with more players, 4 players in this game, is brutal, and you have the blocking of spaces. You're trying to basically place these people in the water or on the land. You're not actually placing people in water, they're on boats or in the land, trying to get resources, to get set collection, trying to be area control, being on most different places, trying to put out huts, because then at the end of the round where everybody has placed everything, you score, you remove everything except for the huts, and then you continue from there. So you basically, like, the first half of the game is like setting up for the next half of the game, which is almost the same game, just a little bit differently, and the way you set up that is really important, and the way you play, it's just a very good game. And as I said, this could have been like almost all the Ronny Knizia play games I have played.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite in that genre as well. I really like Blue Lagoon. It was almost on the list. It was my 11, so it didn't make it because of the depth. It's just not deep enough. No,
It might be pretty deep, like in the water. You don't know how deep the water is.
Yeah, exactly. Like the people are sinking if they're not on boats.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but it's a really great game.
It is. That is Blue Lagoon.
Then we have another Euro game, actually. This is Riverboat. And I've chosen this because it's fairly simple to be a Euro game. And when we're talking about like heavy Euros, this is not one of them. But
No.
I would like say it's a medium-ish. And then like the phases in this game where everybody does the same thing like throughout the round, but like the decisions within those phases being deep enough for me to really like being thinky but not having massive AP moments is really enjoyable, and also make this one of like the Euros that I can easily introduce people to. I feel like where I still have a really crunchy and good time, whilst they are not like in complete like mind blowing.
Not knowing what's going on.
Yes,
Now,
absolutely.
Riverboat is a fantastic game. It's an underrated game. It is one that you should get. Like, it was one of 16 games made by Michael Gisling that year. Azul kind of came and overshadowed everything in 2017, but this is a game, this is like my perfect, and I said it before in Keeper Call and everything, this is kind of my perfect medium weight game. It's just like on the edge of being too simple, but it's like has a perfect, like it's so cozy to play it. And it was in my top 10 before I removed it for not being deep enough.
I think that is like the common theme in this game.
So basically, we're not going to have a lot of crossovers probably because I removed all the game because they're not deep enough. I think it's my turn.
Oh,
because you had Riverboat, yes. Yeah. My number 6 that is a game called In the Ear of the Dragon.
Yeah.
This is the simplest Staffelfeld game rules-wise.
Oh, you think so?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like rules-wise, it's absolutely the simplest one. You basically have a hand of different persons, and the round is you play one of those persons. After that, you're going to choose one action. After you choose that action, you're going to resolve an event, and then you're going to do that 12 times, and then the game is over.
That was a much better pick than Carpe Diem.
I agree.
That is so much more deep.
I agree, but it's more
not
fun
more
to...
complex, but it's just so punishing.
I would say like it's easier, like less complex.
But it was just like, this game is so mean and so complex that I kind of disregarded it.
It's not complex.
Oh yeah, no, but like, you know, like
hard
to play. So I kind of disregarded it when making this list because I was just like, oh, that is hard to play. You know that feeling. Yeah. But I agree. There are super simple rules and just like a very deep game. It's super hard.
It's so good. Like, it's a great game. Like, it's it's the meanest Staffelfeld game. Like, Staffelfeld more and more is more like, oh, you do something, you get points, and we love that. We love the
points out.
Points out. That's all us. But this is also so good. I remember first time I played it, 5 players, which is where it's best. And it's just so tight and so mean. And you want to have all the resources, but you can only get like 1. And then you cry because all your people move out of their houses. They die.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's a fantastic game. And one that is absolutely deep enough.
I want to change my list. Then we have my number 5, and that is Not Alone. I think that Not Alone is a very interesting game because we have very few games of this genre in our collection. You think it's not deep enough? I can see it on your face.
I'm trying to like keep myself contained.
Yeah, you're doing a very horrible job at that. Well, I think that what is interesting about Not Alone is the bluffing mechanism, or the bluffing aspect of the game. Because one is playing the alien that's trying to eat all the crew members, and the crew members are trying to sneak around the alien and not get caught. And it's basically like this mind game of a game. And I didn't think that actually would be my jam. But in this game, I'm like sitting and thinking and double thinking and thinking, oh, but you think I'm going to go there, so then maybe I'll go here, but maybe you think that I'm not going to, so you're going to go there, and maybe I should then go to the place that I want to go because you don't think that. Oh my god.
And that is deep.
I think it's very deep.
Like on a psychological plane?
We have different like
definitions. Yeah, but that's fun. That is fun because that makes the list more fun. I can make fun of you. People can make fun of me in the comments, and people can.
But I don't get it. How do you think that thinking about those things a lot is less deep than thinking where you place your boat in Blue Lagoon? I'm just like, if I struggle to make a decision because I think it's so many possibilities that I could go for, a lot of it is equally valid. It's hard to make the right decision. I would think that is a deep game.
Okay, yeah.
Like, that is the thinkiness, the way the games make me think about my decisions. That is not like, I'm gonna go there, it's gonna be fine. No, it's not gonna be fine, you're gonna lose. That is...
Yeah, I think like that's a bit like in Blue Lagoon, for example, you do things pretty fast. but that doesn't stop it from being like a deep game.
No,
Like it's a gameplay, like it feels like a deep experience,
Yeah.
like a deeper experience. And when I play Not Alone, which is a very good game, I'm really looking forward to play it again. We haven't played it in a long time. It is. Are you angry with me now? Why?
No, because
We just disagree, and that makes
I agree.
like
You're
people are saying that we agree too much,
Yeah.
so we're
not
not
anymore.
gonna
Well, in Blue Lagoon, I don't say. I'm not saying that you have to have AP for that to be a
No,
deep game.
no.
But in Blue Lagoon, I'm sitting and I have like 15 spaces approximately that I think are good spaces to place, because you are going in on that island, I have to block it there, I need to have this colored fruit to get some points, and I need to go on that island or back at Blue Lagoon, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but Blue Lagoon is basically an abstract game with more players.
Yeah,
So
but there's so
if you're
many
saying,
possibilities.
But if you're saying that's not deep, then basically
No, I'm saying that is deep.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
just saying that because there's so many possibilities and you have to like, okay, what is the best? And then that is like, I don't see the difference in the game that I chose.
No, that's really interesting because
I'm just
as we
trying
said,
to defend my choices.
but as I said in the beginning, but you don't have to because it's fine. It's your choices. In the beginning of the video, it's really interesting because this is a very subjective list.
Yeah.
Because it's when you say that, it's like, oh, I wouldn't think that at all. But for you, it makes sense.
Yes.
And then it's correct. It's not wrong. It's just like we look at it in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
I'm just
somewhere.
trying to.
But it's really interesting
yeah.
because then it makes. Hopefully, it is more fun to watch. We actually planned all of this. It's scripted.
Yeah.
Okay. So my next one is mine now. Yes.
Yeah,
Did you
I
do
think
one?
so. Yeah, not
Hey,
alone.
you did not alone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was an actual choice. No. My number 5 is an abstract game. It is actually a whole series of abstract game called the GIF series.
Oh.
So yeah, that is basically just like
those games. Yeah.
oh yeah, that's not so not deep. it's Devon is one of my favorites. Yinch, Link. What more do we have? We have one more. Tsar. Haven't played that too much. Not Yinch either. I think Link and Devon is the ones we have played the most. Really enjoyable games. And like when I play Devon, the first half of the game or the first like part of the game is setting up the game. And every time I play that, I'm like making like pretending to know what I'm doing because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah,
like a
just
couple
doing
of things.
stuff, yeah.
A couple of things. I'm like, okay, I don't want you to have all of that for yourself and blah blah blah. But it's like those games, super simple rules. And it's so beautiful, like the components and everything doesn't have anything to do with this list, but great series of games, and I want to play them more because they're good.
Oh yeah, so good, so abstract, so deep.
I think we have already played them for Keeper Call, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
The one we haven't played, Link, I think maybe is the one we haven't played.
Yeah, no, I think we played that.
There's one we haven't played, but I don't know which one.
Next up, it's my number 4. I'm just waiting for you to say that this is not deep, because this is Aqualin. And I think that, yes, it's not the deepest game, but it's the simplest game. Like, literally, I think this is
I'm looking forward to your top
game.
3 because you're probably going to hate my top 4.
Yeah. So like if we're talking complexity to depth ratio, I think this game is like ticking all the boxes. I think this is a game that makes me feel stupid. We recently talked about it in Keeper Call. Just check out our positive things about that there, basically, because it's a very good game. But it's super simple, but it makes me go crazy because I feel stupid in this game.
It's a good game. I like it. I don't think it's really deep, but I think it has a lot of fun.
But it's under the ocean.
Oh, yeah. So you really
that is basically,
you misunderstood the concept. You're like, all your games have, but this is also very deep. Like it's under the sea. It's
Captain Sonar.
Yeah, that's all. Like it really. Like, I don't know this complexity thing, but it's really deep.
It's really
like deep sea adventures. Okay. There's so much stuff. Okay, so yeah, it's a very good game. I enjoy it, but I do not think it's deep at all. So we're gonna go on to my top 4, which is gonna do like a big step up in complexity, but still gonna be really not complex to the depth. So my next game is gonna be a heavier game. So this is gonna be where people are gonna get the pitchforks and put them up.
I'm looking forward to this.
But I really think these 4 games that I have left are also really low depth and high complexity. So if you're looking for a heavier game,
I hope you're
low
meaning
complexity,
the
high depth. Yeah.
opposite.
If you are looking for a heavier game which isn't that hard rules wise, then these are games for you.
Okay.
So my number 4 is Age of Steam.
Okay, we have totally different perspectives on this list, but that's fine.
I think we even thought about this. Like, it didn't have to be beginners
Abstract?
games, didn't have to be gateway games. Like, it
No,
could be
but I don't think these are gateway games at all.
most of them.
None of them are on my gateway games
No, that's
list.
true. No, because you only have 10 gateway games. But yeah, Age of Steam is like one. It's kind of like Riverboat in the way that you have these phases of the turn where everybody do the same thing, and then the choices in those phases are so hard to do. But rules-wise, the complexity of rules is not that big, like the rules overhead.
Yes, but we actually took a lot of time explaining these rules to our friends that we played it with on Keeper Kill. That took a lot of time. I remember that.
It didn't take that long.
For Age of Steam, I agree. It didn't take that long to explain a
a
heavy game.
A heavy game can also be low complexity.
Oh yeah,
high
yeah,
depth.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
And
The ratio.
And
yeah.
this is a very like the rules here, like to play it well, it's extremely hard.
Oh, so
but
hard.
you basically like all of there's like even numbers on the game that tells you now it's this phase, now it's this phase, and those games are always easier to learn and easier to.
I don't know. Moving bits, I would say. It's just
Not
so
in
many...
the rules. Like it's like if you play a
but
basic
it's
map.
okay.
If you play a basic map, there's really you place tiles and you want to get to the right color to the right city.
Yeah.
That's like rules wise.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing.
No,
I'm just
but
like
it's-
my mindset weren't in Age of Steam World at all.
So you're gonna love my next 3 ones.
Yes.
Number
okay.
1, Feudum.
Oh
Okay.
my god. Then we have my number 3, and
I'm gonna guess. It's gonna be like tic-tac-toe or Truth and Ladders.
Oh, it's so funny that she said tic-tac-toe because it's Shobu, and it's actually like almost the game that I think of as tic-tac-toe because you're moving down this grid and you don't think about tic-tac-toe. Is this too light as well or something?
No. You're just like you almost only have abstract games, which was something we thought we're trying not to do. But people gonna.
Yes, if I had gotten my wish to make a top 20, there will be more abstract games. So yeah,
it's gonna be a good list. I like it.
And I
So, Age of Steam and Shobu, like really in the same genre.
yeah, it's very different, but that is what you get from 2 different brains. Well, Shobu is a really clever game. It's an abstract game where you have these 4x4 grids, and you have to move your stones kind of like chess pieces, but they're always moving the same, all of them. You're trying to knock...
Like a really boring chess game, like everybody has the same thing.
You're trying to knock your opponent's pieces off the board, and when you make a movement on one board, you have to make the same movement on another board, and it's very it's a kind of strict on what movements and what boards you can choose. So you have to really try to defend your position on boards, but also be aggressive, and in the end you see like the movement possibilities that you have are really getting to be very restrictive, which is very interesting. And the first time I played it, I was just like, oh, we just move some stones, this is not important, and you're getting towards the end of the game, I was just like, oh, okay, now I get what you're supposed to do. And that just was a really cool, a moment
experience
for me.
Yeah.
And this game is also in that, the abstract line of the Gibbs series. So this is basically my pick over those.
Yeah.
And not that I like that. I find it hard to say which ones I like better, but I didn't want to fill up my list with the same games.
But so far we have 0 crossovers.
No, really?
Yes.
Really? No crossovers?
I don't think so.
Then we're gonna lose this bet.
Nope.
No
crossovers.
For real?
So my number 3 is going to be in the same genre or the same heaviness thing. This is another one I really think of when I think about like a low complexity game. Not love, but low. Love complexity. I do love complexity, but this is a low complexity. And that is a Princess of Florence.
Yeah.
Which is also one of those games where you basically, you do an auction, then you do 2 actions, then you can maybe sell something, or that is one of the actions, and then you're done. So you have like, and there's not that many actions to choose from. You can basically like buy a building, you can buy a card, you can do a piece, and you can buy a type of freedom. And that's basically, I think there might be one more action. But that's, you're doing an auction, you're doing 2 or 3 actions, and then you rinse and repeat.
It's a so good game,
Yes.
but I think it's too complex for this list. Obviously, because I made my list differently, but I agree. It's fairly little complexity for the depth that I get out of it. So yeah, I just thought when I made the list that would be too complex.
And also like because it's not like, and one of the reasons I think it's kind of low complexity is that in the auction phase, for example, there's 4 different kind of landscapes, but they do the same thing. It's not like, oh, the forest is having this ability, the other is having this ability. It's just like a list of different cards that want to have the forest, want to have this. The same with the buildings. All the buildings do exactly the same thing. They are a building with a name. You want that name to be on the card you have.
Just one combo.
So all of those are the same. So not that many things to remember, not that many different things to understand. But to play well is a different thing, of course.
Yeah.
But there isn't not that many different concepts. Like there's not, oh, this building, like 10 different buildings with 10 different abilities. It's not that. It's just building.
Yeah, I agree. Then we have my number 2. And that is one game in a genre that I just picked one of. And I could have picked Taurus, I could have picked Santorini, but I decided to put Mexica on this list. I think all are great games, but on this list I decided to put Mexica because it's I just like it was a fresh breath. We played this for the first time for Keeper Co, and it's one of the games from Kramer Kiesling that they have other games in this genre also.
They have a trilogy
yes.
of Cusco, Tikal, and Mexico.
Yes, and Mexica is the one that I thought was simplest,
Yeah.
but you also get a lot of interesting decisions in that game as well.
Love
and
it.
You're basically trying to build areas with that are like restricted, and then you're trying to build pyramids in that area. You're trying to have a majority, and you have these action points each round, which really makes this super crunchy, and you can block your opponents while just standing on a bridge, and you can move on the bridges, and you can it's just like so good.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great game. I agree with this one. And this is
Finally!
So far the heaviest game on your list. Like, this is a heavier game.
No, like not according to Board Game Geek it is. Shobu is heavier.
No,
Riverboat is
no
heavier.
sense.
No, it's like
But Shobu is not a
No, I
heavier
agree.
game. Like,
I just looked at the wrong number. Well, but Riverboat is the heaviest on my list, and Mexico is my number 2.
oh yeah. Okay. So my number 2 then is also one I really think about when I think about like, this is one that is one of my favorite games, or it has fallen a bit because somebody is very good at it. But it's one of those that's so simple to teach, but so much gameplay, and you can play with many people, and that is Power Grid.
Yeah.
Power Grid is very good, except that you always win, and it's not fun to play with you anymore because I've never won the game against you. Like it's not an overstatement. Like you always win this game. There's something about your brain, and you usually don't like math in game, like doing math calculations.
Not auctions either, so I don't know what is happening in this game.
It's basically almost all auctions and calculations in your head. And people use calculators sometimes in this game. But like the rules are so pure, like you can teach it to almost anybody. It's not, I wouldn't obviously not use it as a gateway game, but other than that, like it's pretty darn simple to play. Like you basically you do the auction, you buy resources, you spend resources, you're done. It's super simple rules-wise, and so much going on in this game. I love it.
I love this as well. It's a really good game. It's just not in the ballpark I intended for this list, but I think it's cool that we took 2 different approaches on this.
I feel kind of like now I feel kind of like Tom Wassel when he's like when he's always like, yeah, and I did this list this and this way, and the other people are like, you didn't tell that to us.
I feel like you in our essential games. I've just like put in the gateway games.
Yes. Okay.
Then we have my number one. And my number one might be our only crossover for
That is
this
crazy.
list.
I think it might be a long time since we didn't have any crossovers.
Because this I know is a crossover, so it might be the only one. I almost...
It's so weird. Like, I was so sure you're going to have those games.
Yeah, nope.
Then you come with some abstract games that we almost never played.
They're great games.
They are, but it's just so weird.
Great
like,
games.
so weird.
And they're so deep, despite very, very simple rules.
Yeah, and that is also Power Grid. Like, it's one of your favorite games. Like, it's...
Yeah, yes. But Hats is also a game that I think in this genre, but I decided to go for Arboretum, which is one of your games as well.
Yes.
And this is one of the games that I instantly think of when I'm thinking low complexity, high depth. Not because it's an abstract per se, because I have a lot of abstract on this list.
Yes.
But this is one game that I really associate with those terms, like being very simple to get into. It's 3 things you do on your turn, and you do the same thing each turn, but like the way it messes with my brain and makes me feel really stupid, it's just amazing. It's a very good game.
So my number one is a game I'm really surprised you haven't had on a list. I would say that Mexica is more complex. I would say that Riverboat is more complex. This is the quintessential low complexity, high depth game.
Which is this?
You play a card and you do what's on the card. It's called Concordia.
Oh.
Like, it's so simple. It can't be more simple.
It's very
The
simple.
rule sheet is this long.
Yeah, it's very
It
simple.
basically says, play the card and do what it says. And then it says the scoring.
Are you a little just like...
I'm a bit surprised. I'm like super surprised that you're having like Showbrew, but you don't have Concordia or Power Grid, which are so simple
But you
games.
always liked Concordia more than me. I don't think it's in my top 50. Like,
Which makes
Concordia
no sense.
Is
But it's
not in my top 50.
But basically,
it's
it's. I don't think Showbrew is in your top 50 either.
I was going to say the same thing.
But you play a card, you do what the card says, and that's 85% of the rules.
Yeah, but I agree. But
The scoring is a bit hard to get into, but the rules even do like a way you can, first time somebody resets, you do like a mock scoring, so that you can understand the scoring, and then you get into it.
Okay, but one game that I really wanted to put on this list, but I decided, no, it's too complex, is Ginkopolis. And in hindsight, I should have put that on the list, because it's really good, and you're basically just doing it's very simple.
But you have that part where it's a bit confusing, but I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So those are 19 games.
Yeah.
Because we thought we're gonna have fun. What games did you think I was gonna have on my list? Like,
and
that
some
is weird.
abstract games?
Yeah,
because that is what the games that I thought of when making
but
this
we even
list.
thought, make sure not to only have abstract games on the list. We talked about that.
I have 3 non-abstract games on this list.
Yes, which is...
Yes.
I have like
Carpe
2
Diem,
abstract.
Bloody Inn, Riverboat.
Yes. Okay,
That is
so
the
that
end of
is
the
the end
video.
of the video. If you are still here and you have not subscribed, please do so now. It's free and it makes us happy, even more happy than we already are. And please let us know in the comments what you think about the list. If you want to do something that's not free, you can go to patreon.com/boardgamingramblings and support the state. That helps a lot. And that is the end of another really fun
Dividing
It was
video.
really fun to make, at least. Hope it was fun to watch as
it's-
well. And that's the end. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Cinema.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye-bye.